rise with the pledge, followed by invocation from Councilman Wilson. I
Father in heaven, we come to you tonight, Lord, heads are bowed, eyes are closed. Thanking you, Lord, for another year. You look through our thoughts, Father, and let us be here for one more year. And we say thank you. Thank you for our dedicated citizens. Thank you for our dedicated staff. And we thank you for our dedicated council, Lord. We've been through so much last year, Lord. People have tore us down. The council, our police department, our city manager, our police chief. Lord, we pray that this year we will build each other up instead of tearing us down. We appreciate our workers. We appreciate our council. Our whole staff, Lord. They work very hard trying to keep our city running smoothly. And they don't get the credit as they deserve. And we pray for them. Lord, thank you for giving us the wisdom and the guidance through this meeting, Lord. We thank you for your son who went to the cross and died for our sins, that we might have a shot at eternal life. Lord, we say thank you with all our projects that we're going to have this year, Lord, that all of them will be a great success. Thank you so much. This is the prayer we pray in your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
welcome everyone in the audience and those who are listening at home for our regular meeting Thursday, January the 8th, 2026. Once we've covered item 1, item 2, citizen presentations and comments. I don't believe we have anything at that particular place. Anyone wanted to speak at this point? Okay. Item 4, introduction of new employees. Do we have any of this right now, David?
No new employees.
And we'll move to item 5, interim city manager report. Dave.
Okay, Mayor, Council, page 4 in your council packet. The sports complex, BEFCO is setting up for the surveying to begin on that. Well, number 11, we'll talk more about some of that, but BEFCO's provided the preliminary drawings for the location of the well. And walking trails, Maria and I are working with Angela at Langford to complete the application process for the grant. That's due the end of January. We're still working on getting quotes for the PD and Civic Center, the painting of the outside of the building. Fuel bids have been requested. We did receive one fuel bid, and we'll discuss that at a later agenda item. Line flushing continues. The water department replaced 2 leaking valves at the golf course. The water department is evaluating 2 fire hydrants that were reported to us that are out of service. There's actually 3 out of service, but 2 that we didn't know about. I didn't know about, I should say. One is at the location by the old Elliston Texaco, and the other one is a little further up at the 100 block of North Summit. Well, that's on North Summit, and the other one is at Northwest Street and Sedan Road. They're both tagged as out of service, and maybe Michael can give us an update on that when he does his report. Michael mentioned to me that in the spring, all fire hydrants will be pressure tested, serviced, and painted based on the flow ratings. He's hoping to do that maybe the end of February, beginning of March. We had 2 water line projects that we wanted to do. One was on North Post Office over here, and then behind Weimer Home Furnishings. That kind of got put aside. Michael had a lot of water leaks in town, and then the holidays, so we weren't able to get to those 2 projects, but we will get back onto that now that the holidays are over. Tree trimming, our electric crew began trimming trees along the alley behind the bakery. That alley, if you drive there, it's clean now and it's easy to travel down. They're also hitting the trees, I think they've done North Exchange and West Grange, and then the trees over 100 block of West Market. The pole light for Shaver Field, we just need one pole for that. It should be coming in shortly. Derek's been working on gathering the conduit and wire. He needs to replace that. That should be done here in the near future. The last two vehicles we had for 2025, early 2026, the police Tahoe came in, and the Chevy Equinox for the building inspector, they both came in. The decals for the building inspector vehicle will be here tomorrow. Michael and I have reached out to Bobcat of Houston to get a demonstration, and we're thinking the end of January, they'll be here with a demo model that we can use. And I'll probably see if a couple of y'all want to come and look at the demonstration, or we'll videotape it, whichever. The 2024-25 financial audit's almost complete. I've been working with Greg this whole last couple of months. It's almost finished. My hope is to present it in February meeting. That's it for that report. If you want to look at my financial reports, I always look at the bottom. The previous month and current month's balances were what, $130,000 difference. I mean, it could be one major purchase for us. So we're doing pretty consistent on that. As far as accounts payable, the only really big one that was sticking out to me was the body cameras on page 9. Those body cameras actually came in, that was from Axon, and the invoices weren't paid until this year. So we received them in last year, but their invoices weren't paid till this year. So that's why it's showing up there. But we have received all the cameras and equipment to go with them. Oh, and there was no vehicle repairs this month. That's good. I guess it's kind of a testimony to using the enterprise fleet services, where we have newer vehicles that need less maintenance.
That's a welcome thing.
Yeah. And the hotel motel taxes are unchanged since last month.
David, on that equipment fund, are we negative that because of those vehicle purchases?
Yeah, that's what happens. It's kind of like a bank where we borrow money out of it, and then as I do journal entries, it'll come back up. I haven't done the journal entries for this first quarter. It'll come back up though. Like I said, it's kind of like a bank. We borrow from it and then we pay it back throughout the year.
Yeah, sounds good. And on the lawn flushing, have we had any dirty water complaints?
I haven't. Christine, have you had any dirty water complaints come in through you?
We got one today,
One today? Okay.
the one that always,
Where is that located?
Franklin, on Franklin Street.
And this is after
After we
they
closed
did the
that.
dead end?
We did close that at the east side of Franklin down there.
And we've still been flushing
Mm-hmm.
pretty frequently.
Michael, you have any thoughts about that?
Yes, as far as the flushing, a lot of our flushing right now, after going through with the people who are flushing, Geist and them, we're not flushing enough, just flat out. We're cutting the valves and hydrants on for maybe 10 minutes at a time, and more or less we're stirring up more than we're actually discharging and wasting. So we're just too little of it. When we do flush, we need to be doing it consistent for at least 30 minutes, depending on the water quality and chlorine residuals and all of that. But right now, we're also, that's part of the reason that I brought these gentlemen here, that they have their presentation, is on the water quality report that I promised y'all from last month. We have been working and making significant strides with that, so.
Well, if we flush it for longer periods of time, and of course, this additional situation that we're looking at, is that going to help us with the issue over on Franklin, do you think?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Very good.
Michael, do you think that it could be those lines are that bad over there that even with connecting those dead ends, that they're just, you need to replace more of that?
There's a possibility, but, so, I think the biggest thing is we've already paid for the improvements that would fix this, they're just applied wrong. They're in the wrong places. The polyphosphate that we have at 8 and 4, those are our two best wells that we have pretty much. We need one of those sets up on this side of town by the tracks, preferably over at well 6, because that is the one that calls every single time a well that goes to plant 1 by the public workshop calls. So if we move from having 2 that are going into an aerator system and basically taking that glue and stirring it up and diluting it to the point that it's not glue anymore, if we bring that over here, 1, we don't have the aerator over on this side, but these 3 wells that tie into plant 1, those are your dirty wells. Those are your trouble ones. So if we put poly over here, they blend together. 6, 9, and 10, whenever they call for a pump, it calls for 2 different wells. And they will all go into the clear well at the public workshop. And if we put poly there, it would basically take care of all the water from all 3 of the wells on this side of town, the older wells, that would, I believe, sequester a lot of the iron buildup that's causing all these complaints.
Is that something that you can impact yourself?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I would have to call the company. We may have to get an engineer study, things like that, just to make sure it's proper for TCEQ. But yes, absolutely.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on the financial reports? Okay, we'll move to Public Works. Michael?
You're back, Michael. Seems like
Y'all missed
you were
me.
just there.
Alrighty.
Page
So,
14.
as I said, we've been going through the water quality on a lot of the plants, and from my analysis, 4 and 8, the ones that feed into plant 3 on the south side of town by I-10, those are our 2 best wells, and right now we have that poly going into the 2 better wells instead of the ones that are causing a lot of this iron buildup, the older wells and things like that. But also the main problem is both of those go into the same tank that are blended together. We could get by with only treating one of those because they're both blending together at the same time anyway. They're both getting treated with the product. If we move one over here, that means now we've got both treatment plants have that poly in it where it would sequester that iron and make it easier to get out of the system and not show up at all of the people's houses. It wouldn't be so evenly spread out through distribution. It would be more controlled. And then that, if we spread that over here, as well as additional flushing and things like that, longer flushing more or less, not additional, but just doing it for a longer period of time, I think that would flush itself out. Now, we're still always gonna have problems. I mean, we're on top of red clay. I mean, that's what's in the ground and that's where our water's coming from. So we're always gonna be fighting this battle. It's not something that's just gonna go away with a magic pill or anything. So all we can do is sequester and do our best to eliminate as much of this problem as we can. And I truly feel that between moving the poly and making sure that we have poly injections on all sides of town, that way it's in all distribution, and then as well as what these gentlemen are here to talk about, I see no reason that we would have to continue flushing near as much as we are now. Not to mention some of those things with the sequestering and all that. If we move it over to this side of town, right now what we're doing with our chlorine at plant 3, we're using about 2 pounds a day over at that plant for 2 wells. We have 3 wells, technically 2 right now that are active on plant 1. We're using an average of 22 pounds a day. And that's the difference of the things that are needing the chlorine. There's something in there demanding that chlorine and taking it. And a lot of that is the iron and different things that are on this side of town that aren't being sequestered by not having that poly injection. So that is pretty much the basis of my water quality report. But also, I've been going over engineer reports from 2019 up until now for the water quality issues. And a lot of the issues that they had talked about even back in 2019, they haven't been acted upon. And it's not anything necessarily from this council or anything. It's licensed, qualified, educated operators is really what it is. And I've kind of taken a grasp on it. Whenever I looked at the 2019 report, it showed that that well 9 right there by Exxon had been down at that point in time. And here we are, 2026, I'm just now getting it back up and running. And I plan to put that back into distribution on Monday morning. So we're trying to eliminate some of these things by just good old water work. And then other than that, I've also found, going through the chlorine system, we have either broken alarms or no alarms in our chlorine injection, which that gas, if it were to leak out, it is potentially deadly. Things like that. Even broken fans in the chlorine room where they can't push the chlorine out of that room and ventilate it properly if there was to be a leak. So there are a few things with the water quality and the distribution side of it that we're going to be improving too. Just trying to help out essentially, improve all we can. But right now, I think between the sequestering on this side with that poly, that should drop our price on chlorine down significantly. Because there's no reason that we should be operating at 22 pounds for 2 wells when any other 2 wells are running at a pound or 2 apiece.
Would a filtration system take care of a lot of that as well?
Not necessarily, because you're going to have more mechanical parts, more points of failure, screens, things like that. That's going to be on heavy maintenance, where I think we could get it out by just basically treating and injecting that polyphosphate. Because essentially it does work as a glue where it will take all those inorganic particles like the iron and it'll sit right at the hydrant. It'll make its way to the end point. So as soon as we open up a hydrant, it'll be brown because it's supposed to be brown because it's doing its job. But then it'll clear up almost instantly and then we're back to normal, you know. And that's what they're kind of seeing is a lot of the guys here, they've been flushing until they see it go clear. That's not enough. Because as soon as you turn that back off, once everything kind of settles down, you know, it's stirred up for a while and that's going to cause just as much coloration problems until it actually settles down and is able to be sequestered through the poly. Other than that, we have had quite a few leaks. A lot of them popped up in the same week, just ground shifting, drying out, you know. We're currently working on, I'm waiting on parts for a 12-inch leak off of the fire hydrant here off of the water tower on Southeast. I should have the parts for it tomorrow sometime, and then it'll have it fixed on Monday. And then we have one other small leak that I'm trying to get some help with the contractor on, just because whenever we do fix it, the valves for it are quite a few blocks away. So whenever we do it, we're going to be installing isolation valves to make sure that if there is a problem in that area in the future, we won't have to shut down 6 blocks of customers. It would be a block or a very short amount of a couple houses instead of a couple blocks. That's kind of a lot of what we're doing, and we are going through this next month, either January or beginning of February, just kind of in the downtime with the weather and all of that, and in between the weather. We're doing a full maintenance and testing, painting of the hydrants. That's kind of a big stickler I have. And as far as the hydrants that you are asking about, the one by the old gas station, from my knowledge, everything that I've looked up, we had contractors come down on College at some point in time and do a water line. They did not extend it to that block. They did not come all the way to 90. They went to the next block north, whichever street that is. And then they turned off. So now there is absolutely no line going to that, so we can pull that hydrant up out of the ground or extend the line to it. But honestly, that's kind of a decision I guess we'll have to talk about as far as if we want to bring that down the rest of that block for that hydrant. And then the other hydrant that we found, it's a small leak. It's something that we'll be able to address when we go do the full maintenance, because we're going to be greasing, we're going to be pulling bonnets, the whole 9. Flow testing, and then making sure everything's up to date color-wise, so it's a lot easier for our fire department and everything. We don't have to worry about we can't get on a valve, or we can't get this open, or something stuck, or we have no idea how much pressure or how many gallons per minute are coming out of this hydrant. Everything's going to be as easy as could be for our fire department, so that we don't have to worry about them waiting on us as far as public works to help save the community.
We'll appreciate that.
Absolutely.
As a member of the fire department, my personal thought is I'd rather add a line than remove a fire hydrant. Is that your mentality too?
I would say so, but I think maybe having a meeting with Butter
Yeah,
and
and
see what's
evaluate that
what's in that area
area.
and go from there.
Make sure you got enough coverage.
Correct. I mean, there was one there, so I feel like there was probably a reason it was put there. Probably need to
Absolutely.
put it back, in my opinion. But that's just
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah. my gut feeling is it needs to be there. Okay, we'll meet with Butter.
Absolutely. All right, and then, other than that, we have been doing quite a few, concrete jobs. We've done a ADA ramp, we've cleaned up some storm drains that were broken down, I'm sorry. And also as far as the lead and copper, from last year, we got all the samples sent off to the lab on December 11th. They were all received, just yet to receive the actual paperwork from them. The lab reports come back, but with everybody having to be due by the end of the year and the holidays, I'm sure it's probably just gonna be a little bit of a delay getting our full report back. But I did get verification that they did approve or accept 21 samples when we needed 20. So I made sure that we had an extra in there just in case one failed, we're safe. So everything's good and up to date as far as violations, lead and copper, all of that, we're good to go. And we have one more round for 6 months that we're gonna do this first, by June. I've already got the bottles in stock. So whenever, I'm probably gonna wait until March or so, just to give a little bit of time between giving out bottles to the same people. And then we're gonna do it again, and then hopefully, if everything's accepted between these 2 rounds, we won't have to do it again for another 3 years. We'll be back on a three-year scale instead of a 6-month scale. So that's the projects that we're working on right now.
We certainly appreciate your expertise.
Not a problem. Any questions I can help answer? Thank you. Oh, one other thing, the loop on North Post Office by Lonnie Hensey's and the golf course, we were a little bit delayed on that. I've plan to go recall the line locate tomorrow, and we should have that knocked out here in the next 2 weeks, pending the leak that we're already kind of working on, making sure we get that tied up first before we start on another. All right.
And then Lola George, Jules says, thank you for all the repairs at the golf course.
Thank you.
They appreciate it.
Happy to help. All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Police Department, John?
How are y'all doing tonight?
Good.
So I did a report of the crimes for 2025. Our crime rate is actually very low overall. We had a total of 290 reports. Of that, that's everything. It's going to be code enforcement, animal control, the whole 9 yards, so a total of 290 there. However, for 2025, we had 3 reports of abandonment or endangerment of a child or the elderly. Our big one right now is assaults. Most of those seem to be domestic violent, assault, family violence type thing. And that was a total of 19 reports throughout the year. Possession of controlled substance, that's going to be any of our drug charges. We had 11 counts of criminal mischief. That's going to be, breaking stuff, graffiti, whatnot. 6 DWIs, which is surprising since we're on the I-10 corridor. There was 1 homicide that's currently pending trial, I believe. I'm just hitting the big ones here. Let's see, 7 obstructing or resisting police. I will say that as far as sexual assaults and all, we had a total of 3 for adults, 1 for a child, and then 1 pornography-related offense, which I believe was providing pornography to a child. Whenever we're looking at the overall crime rates, we need to remember that the state of Texas scales it up to a population of 100,000 people. So whenever they start talking crime rate numbers or whatnot, they take our 2,000, 2,100 people and they scale it up 50 times to 100,000, and that gives them the overall crime rate. For that, we're still scoring fairly low, but not as low. Downside of this is whenever they scale it up, even just 1 report can skew those numbers by 10 or 15 points or more. Luckily, right now, we have 24% of the reports in our community were violent offenses, and 36% were property related. And then 16 to 17 were a combination of violence and property. So maybe just as a for instance, maybe a boyfriend, girlfriend get in an argument, the car gets destroyed, there's an assault, it would be something like that. The other reported incidents fall into different categories. I did do a pie chart on page 17, as well as a bar graph on page 18. It's the same information, just two different ways. I like the bar graph, just the way my brain's wired. It makes it a little bit easier to do. We did have 16 thefts, which is, it could be better, but I've seen a lot worse. And then, on page 21, this is the actual report that we were able to pull on eForce, and this breaks it down. Abandoned vehicles, agency assist, animal cruelty, stuff like that. The only ones I included in the initial stats were the ones that were actual crimes, like, an agency assist. It was a crime for somebody, but not us. We went out to assist another agency, usually Colorado County or DPS. And, the animal problems are going to be a code enforcement issue. I think that's about it. Any questions? So far, we're up to 2 reports this month. So at least one of those is a felony, and I believe the other one was a Class A misdemeanor.
Any new prospects for police officers?
Yes, sir. We did have a candidate pass physical agility and his psych eval. He'll be coming in on Wednesday for a final interview, probably a conditional offer, and then we'll send him over to Van Hooten's office for his final physical. Providing he passes all that, he's going to be a good officer. I think he has the right attitude for the community as well as for the members of the police department. He's going to fit right in like he grew up here, I think. We also received another application today, an officer with quite a bit of administrative experience. However, I haven't started his background, so I couldn't tell you if he's, ultimately going to be offered or not yet. So we're getting there. It's picking up.
Very good. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Very comprehensive report.
Yeah,
Thanks for
good.
that.
Very nice.
The next report will be from Misty in the Public Library.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, Weimer. All right, for the library on page 24, you can see our circulation graph. Of course, with the holidays, we get a little bit slower because they're all closed up and everything. But we're still doing good with our holdings. We still have about 17,945 materials in our library that's available to the patrons. Right now, we have 1,798 patrons in our library that have a library cards to use the materials. Right now, we have 251 being used on loan. As you can see on page 25, our monthly library visits, here finishing off the year, and for December, we have 485 people that showed up to visit the library, even with the short time we had with the holidays. For our grand total of 7,356 people visiting the library this year. That's just great. For our audio checkouts for Libby, we only had about 39 people using Libby with the audio, and then a grand total of 461 visits or checkouts for the year. For the ebooks, it's kind of got cut off there a little bit, but we had a total of 50 for the month of December, and then 899 total for the year. So they're using that Libby, so keep on using it. All right, for page 27 is the Weimer Public Library event calendar for January. We had some really upcoming good events coming up, especially on this Saturday. We have a Weimer Chess Club tournament at 2 p.m. at the Weimer Civic Center. We have a few signed up, so we still have room for people that want to participate in the tournament. Just come on by, or you can speak with David. You can come and call me or email me to get the information. Or you can text him at 979-702-0302. 502 to text him and let him know that you're interested, or you can stop by about 15 minutes before and we can register you then. Then on the 12th, we're having our second Weimer Book Club meeting at 6 p.m. at the library. They're going to be talking about the book that they chose in, I think it was December, or November, that time. And they're going to talk about that and then talk about their next book they want to choose for their reading and stuff. We still have on Tuesdays the chess club meetings, and if you want to come into with the chess group, we still meet at 3:45 to 4:45 p.m. on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, we do the library in motion group. We're still going strong with that group. It's all free, so come and visit me and have some fun at 10 a.m. in the morning. 10 a.m. in the morning with us. Yeah, with our library motion, we do different types of things like Tai Chi, fun drumming workout, chair yoga and meditation, and then body in motion class. On Thursdays, we still have family story time at 10 a.m. For the month of January, have wonderful topics to learn and do, and today is Elvis Presley's birthday. So happy birthday, Elvis. And then on the 16th, this is the month for Friends of the Library joining, so you might be seeing letters in the mail saying, hey, rejoin the Friends of the Library if you haven't. Please do. But if you like to know what's going on with the Friends of the Library, we'll be talking about everything for this coming year on the 16th at 10 a.m. in the library. Come join us. And the last thing I want to mention is that we have a movie for the kiddos. We're doing an older movie, Balto, a rated G at 2 p.m. We're going to have free popcorn and everything on the 19th during Martin Luther King Day when they're out from school. So if you have nothing going on, come visit us at the library. Two, I want to mention that last year, being an accredited library, we get like some free stuff. So for America turning 250 years old, we got this, it's called Texas America 250 Traveling Exhibit. It's a small little exhibit of information that we displayed in our library. So when you come and visit, you can go around and look at the different displays and exhibit and read about it and stuff about Texas and America and stuff. So another reason to come visit the library. All right, any questions or anything for me, guys? All right. Thank y'all so much.
Our next report will be from Billy Nunn for the building inspector report. That's on page 28.
Mayor, council, thank you. So I've spent quite a bit of time in some training the last month for getting some of my requirements for the state, Texas State Board of Plumbing examiners taken care of. So I got all that done, got some training done for my residential electrical inspector exam, which I did take and pass. Got everything submitted to the Texas State Board of Plumbing examiners, just waiting to hear back from them to see when they'll bless it and get me scheduled to take their test so I can start inspecting plumbing for the state, or in the state. And then David and I have been working with Safe Built on transitioning away from them and me to start doing the inspections here. So they will be assisting us on some inspections, but for the most part, we're going to start doing those plan reviews and inspections here locally now. Any questions?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The last report, we were going to have a report from the code official. Jim had an addition to his family. He was out of state, so he had to travel out of state to see his, I think it's a grandbaby. And so we'll have his report next month.
We'll move to item 6, presentations. Anything there, David?
No, not in this.
Okay. Item 7, consent agenda, council. Got 7.1, approval of regular council meeting minutes, December 11, 2025. That's pages 29 through 35, and then approval of special council meeting minutes, December the 18th, 2025. That's pages 36 and 37. And if you recall, we will consider these one vote as a consent agenda when you're ready.
So moved.
Motion by Roberts, second by who? Wilson. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. New business. Item 8.1, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding awarding the 2026 fuel contract. That's page 38. David?
Mayor, council, we had one bid. It was from Patriot Fuel Distributors. They're currently providing our fuel for the city. Their bid was 0.5089 for both diesel and unleaded. A little history, last year was 0.4689 for diesel and unleaded. So it's an increase of 4 cents a gallon. The year before, we dropped 18 cents per gallon. So the net, we're still down about 14 cents a gallon from 2 years ago. So I guess we're requesting that you award the bid to Patriot Fuels.
That is an action item.
Make a motion that we award the bid to Patriot Fuel Distributors.
Motion Scardino,
Second.
second Claisel. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 8.2, discussion, consideration, and possible action on a professional services agreement with E3 using bicarbonate on cities' wells and water distribution. I believe we have some speakers on that.
Lights went out.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is there some,
Larry Jones and Tim Rowe.
yes,
Mike
and
Rubin
as well as
represent-
Mr. Vineyard over here, who is the chemist, the scientist on the project. We've been working together since, I guess, November, working on the Well 9 project by Exxon, and it's been almost a night and day difference from the way it was whenever I first took over to what these gentlemen have been able to prove to us. I mean, standing out there with them on that well, Mr. Vineyard has even been able to produce results within as little as 5 minutes by something as simple as a couple of drops into a cup. It's been quite amazing, so.
Thank, Mayor and Council, thanks for having us tonight. I got a quick 15-page, 8-minute presentation. I just used the PowerPoint as a guide, so it's supposed to be a discussion. Feel free to chime in and ask questions. As I said, I'm Larry, this is Tim, he's project development. Doug over there is a water expert. The bicarbonate is part of the University of Houston College of Engineering Public Water Initiative. E3, quick intro on E3. E3 has two sides of the house, a building side. What Tim and I do is water and wastewater. I won't talk about it tonight, but we do have some great technology that can help you down in the lagoons. Hopefully you'll invite us back up to talk about that. What we're here to focus in on tonight is the water quality. So with that, a little process to date. Met Michael, actually it's his first week here, I think. Yeah, it's first week here. We spoke a little bit about the pilot program from the University of Houston. We went out and on the 10th, did the main treatment on water well 9. And then we came back on the 12th, added a little bit more to the well. Had great results. We'll show you a little bit about that in a slide or two. And then what we're asking tonight is we're asking to treat another well and actually put the product on the water distribution. So real quick for tonight's agenda, we've got trends, solutions, outcomes, and a little action plan at the end. It sounds like y'all do know a lot about the trends already, obviously from the earlier in the meeting, so I won't spend a lot of time on this, but what the technology is supposed to do is it'll give you bottled water, quality water. It'll make it crystal clear. It'll remove the sulfur smell, and give you the ability to cut way back on the chlorine usage. And so with that, I'm gonna flip it to Tim to talk a little bit about the technology.
So the, the issues that cities face with their water, these chemicals right here are representative of some of the chemicals that have been historically available to try to fix the problems, right? But the reason I pull them up is they're pretty hazardous chemicals, right? All that chlorine, ammonia, hydrofluorosilicic acid, sodium hydroxide, and orthophosphates, right? And the trend that we see is that people are having to use more and more of these chemicals because the problem's not being fixed. And so bicarbonate is a sodium hypochlorite, which is basically like the same chemical as chlorine. It's a chlorine. And how it works is it has it creates a frequency or a field that bacteria can't they can't communicate, they can't defend, they can't form defenses, build scale, and bacteria is the cause of a lot of the water problems, from the color, the taste, and then, you know, obviously the need for chlorine or disinfection to make your water safe to drink. And so this is the diamond for bicarbonate. It's not hazardous, not flammable, it's stable, and it has no special hazard. You don't have to have any protection, you know, versus the other chemicals. It's NSF 60 certified, so it's safe for consumption. Neutral pH, doesn't do anything to your water other than fix the issues. So this was a couple pictures of our well cleaning. Now, from left to right is from the beginning to the end. And so, as you can see, we started to flush the well. We took baseline measurements, and it was just really, really dirty water. And bicarbonate being introduced, pumped down, surged it, let it mix in, and then we flushed it out. And it took I think a couple hundred gallons in 2 days, but not consecutive days. But so the left was the first day, and the right was actually a picture from Michael when he was flushing it when we weren't here. When it comes to it's kind of hard to see this chart, but basically, as we put bicarbonate in, which is represented by the blue line, it's being used up. It's going in and it's destroying, or it's not allowing the bacteria to communicate. Their ability to maintain their defenses, the scale, it's gone. It's instantaneous, and so all that scale starts to break up. So in 2 hours and 19 minutes, you can see on the left side, the top, the blue chart, the blue line, that's the bicarbonate going in, being used up, and the orange line is the debris that's being in the solution. So bicarbonate goes in, debris goes up. It's basically cleaning up the scale, cleaning up, getting rid of the defenses of the bacteria.
So what we have for a solution for this step, we were we wanted to target one other well to flush it and treat it with bicarbonate. We were going to do there's a TCEQ application for a permit of where the tanks are going to go. So we would complete that. We would do, and then we would install the proper tank and pump out there, do the installation and the commissioning. And really that scope of work is a professional services agreement for 48,345. The stuff you see below that, that's all, we're finishing up a project in Stockdale, and so we're doing the after sonar out there on their lagoons. So we can stop by here and sonar your lagoons for free. So that's all really not part of that. It's not part of the scope. So the 48,345 is cleaning the well, the application, the tanks and the pumps, the installation and the commissioning. Yeah, and then And then, so what this graph represents, if you want to think through that.
Yeah, so as the bicarbonate goes in and your distribution, the scale is removed, there's no defenses for the bacteria, the microbes, then the chlorine that you use is more effective. And so you throttle back on how much you put in. Timpson, another city that we put it on, they were using 60 pounds of chlorine a day. And then bicarbonate was introduced, and they had to drop it down to 7. Huntington, one of the first cities that put it on, they found an 85% reduction in chlorine. And it created I mean, both cities had really bad water, like discoloration, the same issues that you have here. And now it's basically bottled water quality, crystal clear with a much, a huge reduction in chemicals, which, if you 60 versus 7, if you multiply that out, that's a huge amount of pounds of, basically a very harsh chemical that you're not putting in, y'all's system. So y'all are using 22 plus what, 4?
Yeah, plus 2.
So 22 plus 2? Yeah, so that 24 will probably go down to about 4 or 5. Yeah, and then the phosphates could be worked out you wouldn't have to use them after the system got cleaned up. So basically, this chart shows y'all's budget right now. Y'all had about 12,000, 13,000 budgeted for water chemicals, and then y'all voted last year for reintroduction of the phosphates. And so your budget went, well, it was already there, but it was at 50. So your $50,000 chemical budget would, if you shift to chlorine and bicarbonate, your reduction in your chemicals plus bicarbonate, you go from 50,000 annual spend to around $40,000 a year.
And then here is a copy of the professional services agreement, and here's, I included a reference letter from Huntington. Huntington was one of the original places where bicarbonate was studied by U of H.
So, a couple quick questions. How long has bicarbonate been around, and how many cities do y'all currently serve?
How long is bicarbonate?
I've been working with the Texas TCEQ for 20 years.
Okay.
And it's been installed in over 24 cities.
24? Okay.
I would like to make a note that once this is introduced into our distribution system, all of our water that's going to be going into our collection system and going to our sewer plant will now be treated water going into that sewer plant as well. That could also help clean up and mitigate some of our past lack of maintenance or, the big projects such as dredging and things that could help us last out a little bit longer for those bigger capital projects.
So eventually we would do away with the polyphosphates?
Yes.
The projection, how many years?
Depending on how this goes, we might be able to do it within a year. Weeks.
It's quite a turnaround from where we were 2 years ago.
And I saw the slides up here, we go from black to white to clear.
Clear.
Absolutely.
I know some people do complain about their water tasting like chlorine, so.
And it's just the fact that we have one plant needing 22 pounds when they're pumping out the same amount of water as the other plant that only uses 2. That means that there are that many organics and bacteria in here that's asking for that residual. It wants that, it's demanding that chlorine. Well, if that field is broken up and we break down to where we're back to where we ought to be at about 2 pounds a day, we buy 150 pound bottles. So that's 75 days per bottle, where right now we're getting less than a week out of it.
Yeah,
It's a massive improvement.
and once the system gets cleaned, then you start dropping your chlorine down. There's no bacteria, microbes for the chlorine to oxidize. So you put 1 ppm in, and the further stretches of the distribution, you still have 1 ppm, because the entire distribution is now bacteria free. So most cities put in a bunch, and it has to make its way to the end. They have to put like four parts per million in, so you have 1 at the very end. This will this will get that to 1 and 1.
What, I apologize for interrupting. This is, looks, I mean, this basically is just sort of an agreement to pay $48,000 that gets to an implementation contract. What's the implementation contract?
So that would be that you go on by Carbis, you following the next year.
So this just kind of gets us to the starting point.
Yeah, so, I mean, yes, so that would get you the application, the tanks, and the initial flushing. And then once that it's proven up that you like it, then you would start a contract for the year, which is what Tim was showing you, where you would start buying by Carbis all year long.
So this 48,000, if it works, there's gonna be another contract for another 40,000 a year for bicarbus?
No,
How much bicarbus do we get for 48,000?
48,000, you get the tanks, the whole setup.
Right.
That doesn't include the bicarbus.
Well, the flushing
The flushing.
for the well.
So then we gotta buy the bicarbus.
Correct, and basically,
How much is that?
it'd be about, I think, based on y'all's profile, y'all use about 500,000 gallons of water a day. It would be, and of course, that's from TCQ's website, but projecting out would be about around $30,000
For annually?
annually, yes.
And what are we spending on polyphosphates right now, David?
So your current
Oh, that's-
chemicals
okay, that's correct.
are 50. And so what that thing is saying is your current chemicals with bicarbonate will be around 40.
Yeah, so your chlorine use will go down, and, you know, it could go down quite, there's a little, that's a conservative estimate, right? But doing the math, y'all put in equivalent to, depending on the rate that y'all spend on chlorine, around 4 ppm. It's kind of the 33.36 pounds per million gallons of water. And so that's basically, phosphates go away, your chlorine comes down. I project you'll cut conservatively in half, but you can actually cut it by about 75%.
Is there any kind of a warranty on these bicarbus tanks, the pump and the injection apparatus?
The tanks are 3-year warranty. There can be some cost savings in there, if we get, the phosphates off. If y'all have pumps, we can, but I've set it up where it's the 2 tanks, because you have the storage tank, containment tank, pumps, the tubing, all that. But 3-year warranty, I think, on the tanks.
Does that count installation? In other words, for the 48,000, are we guaranteed that the stuff's gonna work for some period of time? The
Tanks,
equipment?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, is it
3-year
gonna work
warranty, right?
for 3 years? Is that on materials and workmanship, or?
Yes, 3 years. The setup will be warranted for 3 years.
Can we add that to this?
Sure.
Yeah, and we could even move that to more of a normal contract as opposed to a professional services agreement.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
mean,
a-
I think it would be good for, and I'm not trying
It's
to
a
knock
T&C
you guys, but
yeah.
for 48,000, I
Yeah.
think we would like to see, I would like for the city to have some written specifications of what, how long is this gonna work? So that, say, like in year 2, if the injection apparatus starts malfunctioning,
Yes.
then he can just call you guys, and you guys are like, oh yeah, it's under warranty, you can come fix it.
Yes.
We'll put it on an agreement with T's and C's.
Okay.
A quick question, the well that y'all are gonna, that's included in this, is it the one that's using so much chlorine right now?
Well, technically, we don't know which one's using so much chlorine because 3 of them, well, 2 right now feed into that. So it's 6, which is off of West Jackson, just past our shop, and then number 10, that's at our shop.
Okay, so it's one of those 2.
What I would recommend in that situation is, I think number 10 there at the shop would be the one that would be the best suited to inject poly to, because right now, out of those 3, all the engineer reports show that number 6 was the best one, and that's why that one is the one that has been in constant, has been on the entire time, where at one point in time, they were using 6 and then adding either 9 or 10, and manually turning one or the other off and letting that one sit for a month, which has created the buildup and created the problem that we see today.
so we cleaned well number 9, which was the worst,
And that's this one.
level, yes. And then, so 4 and 8 are pretty good. 10's about half as bad, as 9, so.
So is this is only gonna be on one well, or will we put it on multiple wells, or you don't need it on multiple wells because we mix them?
So this will go into the plant over by the highway,
Okay.
and then that's all pumped to the elevated storage, so that, it'll basically be mixed into the system through
And
there.
we're just gonna treat and flush one well.
It flows through the whole system.
It flows through the whole system, yes.
Y'all ever had any cities where this didn't work on it? No?
I mean, there's one city we're going after that. The well water is 180 degrees. It's not going to fix that problem, but for this application, yes, it's work.
So Bo, do we need to see a revised agreement first?
I'd like to see one, yeah, that just kind of spells out a little more details of what we're gonna get,
Warranty was.
warranties.
Do you want the warranty and then the actual tank, all the
Yeah, I mean, I think they just, even if we attach as an exhibit exactly a list of what we're getting, a little, I don't need to have the serial numbers, but
I know, I got you.
it's kind of vague.
I got you. Yeah,
We'd just like to know what you're buying
yes.
Yes.
and
And warranty.
what's guaranteed and
Yeah.
warranted.
I mean, I think, so are the material warranties, are we gonna be getting the manufacturer's warranties on the equipment, plus then you guys are gonna warrant the installation?
Correct.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we'd like to at least know the names of the companies making that.
Okay.
And it's a, the 3-year warranty on that, what that includes, does it include the cost of, like if we have to get a replacement injection apparatus, is that gonna be replaced for free? Or is it gonna be like so many of these warranties you see where, like, yeah, it's under warranty, but you have to pay $1,000 labor, and we give you the free $5
Yeah,
part.
Like the new air conditioning warranties,
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly, warrant of saying something's warranted that doesn't mean much anymore, unfortunately.
You're right.
Something I'd like to include to this too is with us going away from the polyphosphates, all the systems are exactly the same, the pumps, the injection, all of that. So now, once we get established, if everything is going well to the point where we take that out of service, the polyphosphate, we have now 2 backup pumps and everything, so even after that 3-year warranty, we still have things on our side where we can maintain it, we've already paid for, we can just upkeep, swap out, be ready to go, no additional charge.
So you've got some redundancy.
Is there any risk that the TCQ won't approve this application?
No, really, the application is for, they just want to know, they want to be able to, if they walk into your room, know what's in each tank.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's really more of a permit.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
So Bo, do you think, should we hold off on doing anything until we?
Yeah, I mean, unless it's pressing, I'd like to see a better contract, if that's okay.
So we could maybe move it to
It'll
next.
allow us time if there's any questions somebody comes up with, that can, any concerns or anything that, maybe not
Yeah.
fresh on our mind right now that we can ask and get that squared away before we, I like the idea of it, absolutely.
Correct.
I
Yeah,
do
no, it
too.
sounds promising.
And, but definitely wanna make sure that before we pull that plug.
I mean, if we could have something by next meeting, which is a month from now, but.
We can have it next week.
Just curious, even if we, say, take a regular standard contract, and we add this on as an exhibit, with all full warranty information and everything like that, do we need to have them back out for the second?
No,
No, they wouldn't. need to
Could
come
we
back,
possibly,
yeah.
that, or, if it's revised and up to date, just basically this exact thing with the warranties, I mean, would we be?
Oh, yeah, they get sent to
Make a
us, and we
decision,
can
yeah.
see, They don't need to come out.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
You meet everybody.
Sounds really good. We're
Very
looking
good
forward to it.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll move move on to 8.3.
One more time. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding the agreement with USS for dumping waste into the city sewer ponds. David?
Michael, so this is a company that had in the past dumped waste products into our sewer ponds. The contract expired, and now they're coming back wanting another contract. I think Michael can explain where we are.
Yes. So right now, plant's running at about 75% effectiveness. We've got one aerator still down. We just got the motor back. That was some of the remanufactured motors that I mentioned last month. We finally got all of those back. But even so, our lab results are close enough that it's too big of a risk, honestly. We'd be stepping on dollars to pick up pennies. And at this point, with that company, everything that I've heard from in the past, they were pulling up with truckloads, tankers. That is not something that we need on a stressed out lagoon already. We will be adding into a major, walking into a major violation. And I see no reason to even think about accepting it.
Good enough.
Thanks for easing it out. How do you really feel?
Music
Michael?
to our ears.
Got somewhere else to go.
Okay. Moving on to 8.4, discussion, consideration, and possible action adopting resolution number 2026-01-14, ordering city general election for Saturday, May 2nd, 2026. That's pages 39 through 41.
Yes, we have
David?
Maria's gonna.
the
Maria?
May 2nd, 2026 city election. We'll have place 2 and 4 and mayor open. And so you can start filing on the 14th of January, and it ends February 13th. And we contract with the county. That's about it.
This is an action
And
item.
this is just calling the election.
I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution number 2026-01-14, ordering city general election for Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, for positions 2, 4, and mayor.
Second.
Motion Roberts, second Christian. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And we'll move on to 8.5, discussion, consideration, and possible action, negotiating election services contract with Colorado County Elections Administrator for the May 2nd, 2026 election, pages 42 through 45. David? Maria?
Yeah, this is just a contract with the county as far as them taking over, overseeing the election and equipment, the judges, the clerks, the
And
locations.
we've been doing it for several years.
And we've done
It's
it,
been working
yes.
really well.
Yes.
So it takes a burden off of us, and they do an excellent job. They have all the equipment to do it.
Okay, this is an action item.
Make a motion to negotiate election services contract with Colorado County Elections Administrator for the May 2nd, 26 election.
Motion Scardino,
Second.
second Roberts. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 8.6, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding bank deposit agreement with Fayette Savings Bank, page 46. I think we have a speaker for this, Rodney Collick.
Mayor, I'm abstaining from this agenda item.
Thank you.
And I've received his form.
Good evening. I'm Rodney Collick. I'm the CFO at Fayette Savings Bank. Tonight I'm here with Jennifer Mooring. She's our branch manager here in Weimar. And we can't thank enough to be here in Weimar, to have our banking center here. And also I have served you for the last 2 years. It's hard to believe 2 years has gone. Also, just commend y'all for y'all's service. You know, we deal with multiple, we're banking service for other city county, and also school districts. So we really appreciate the chance to be able to serve, have that relationship and work with David and his staff. I think it's worked real well the last 2 years, and we're looking to enter into that extension of a 2-year extension. And David and I, we talked about paying the same rate schedule as we have done before. It's based off the 91-day treasury, the prior 30-day, 91-day treasury. And I think it's worked good for us and for y'all. So that's what I wanted to present this evening.
So this will be an extension for 1 year, up to 5.
I'm sorry,
So
1 year.
1 year up to 5, so 1 of 5,
Sorry about that, yeah.
if everything goes. So,
Anything else on that, David?
no, and we're very pleased with the bank. We've got good interest rates. I do want to say, though, we want to support all of our banks in town. We're all together in this, so thank you for all of our banks in town. But yeah.
Okay, this is an action item.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bank deposit agreement with Fed Savings Bank for 1 year, up to 5?
For 1 year, and
For
then
1
we'll
year?
readdress it
Okay.
next year.
For 1 year.
So motion Roberts,
Second.
second Christian. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We did have one abstention from Councilman Scardino.
Mayor, ready to go?
Yes, sir.
My apologies.
Not a problem. Move on to 8.7, discussion, consideration, and possible action on contracting with Texas Police Chiefs Association, the TPCA, to provide services to aid in the hiring process of a police chief. That's pages 47 to 50. David?
Mayor, Council, in the past, we've tried to acquire a police chief on our own. We've tried to use some committees we put together. And an offer came to us that we could possibly use the Texas Police Chiefs Association. It was recommended to us, I believe it was from the city of Brenham. They acquired their current police chief through TPCA. So I think based on, I think it'd be worth it to give it a try. It's an outside, they're not directly related to our community. They see things from the outside rather than from the inside looking out. I just think it'd be well worth the money spent.
So they're involved in interviewing with you?
They will help to vet out candidates for police chief. They don't actually sit down and do the interviews, that's on us. But they will provide us with maybe 3 candidates, the top 3 candidates to, Danny?
They will provide someone to sit in on the interviews if you want them to.
Oh, they will send some, okay.
From what I understand, they will have a person in the room if you want them to.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
Seemed to me a critical part of it was the vetting.
Well, and I'll add on that point, I've requested by 3 or 4 letters to, what's his name, Mr. Harrington up in Ohio or Pennsylvania, wherever he is. I understand, I'm not on social media, but I understand he was critical of what we did before, and so I have asked him numerous times to send me, the website he thinks ought to be used, the procedures we ought to be used, and disappointingly, complete radio silence from Mr. Harrington. I guess he's quick to criticize, but not as quick to actually help or be productive or constructive, which it's disappointing. So certainly, I think the Texas Police Chiefs Association they ought to know how to vet somebody.
You would hope.
Yeah.
Danny?
They have approved third-party vendors specifically for background checks. That's CCA approved.
I have seen those letters, so thank you
Okay,
for making those
Yeah, I
requests.
mean, when and if he ever sees fit to bless us with his knowledge, I'll let you guys know.
I think as long as David still has control over,
The
who he
ultimate
wants to be
decision.
his
Yes.
chief,
We can do that.
you I'm all for assistance with that. I do have some concerns with the cities that they've helped have been rather large compared to Weimar. As far as vetting and background checks and things like that, that's probably standard in what we look for in a police chief, so I don't think it's a bad thing overall.
Is that what you'd like to see, David?
To use this group, yes, I would.
Alright, let's see how we do the ordinance.
It's a really long train.
It's a long one.
Can you guys hear us back there?
They can hear me, I'm pretty sure.
And this is an action item.
I'll make a motion that we approve contracting with Texas Police Chiefs Association, TPCA, to provide services to aid in the hiring process of a police chief.
Second.
Okay, motion Robert, seconds Cardino. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
We'll look at 8.8, discussion, consideration, and it should say possible action regarding the alley ordinance. Bo, if there is action taken on this, is it okay for us to proceed?
It is, when you go read the Texas Open Meetings Act, or the TOMA, and it talks about giving reasonable notice, and there's a typo, the word action is missing, but when you look at this, any reasonable person would know that's a typo and that it is meant to say possible action, and so I'm 100% comfortable with the council moving forward.
Okay, very good. All right, David?
Mayor, Council, on page 51, you'll see the current ordinances regarding the alleys.
So right now, it's just that they have to have 10 feet, is that correct?
10 feet, yes.
And so I did do a little research on this one, and I contacted Public Works Director in Sealy, kind of see how they handle their ordinances on alleys. He suggested that if there's an alley that has utilities, electric line, telephone lines, water, natural gas that feeds the residents of Weimar, they should not be allowed to park anything in that alley because it's going to slow down response time for the city citizens. And I will say I'm all for changing this ordinance to something of the sort.
And Michael, I guess basically, what's the purpose of the alleys? If we can answer that, then we can kind of.
Well, like in a lot of our cases, we have our wastewater going down the main streets, the middle of the streets, and where that's not applicable, it's in the alleys. And same difference where the water lines are on the curbs, but where that's not applicable, they're going through the alleys as well. And there's also other utilities that are going back there. And if they are blocked up and we have a leak back there, if they're cluttered up, if they got junk vehicles or just vehicles in general back there, we have a major leak, now we've got a sunken truck in the middle of our work area. We have to pull the truck out as Public Works, pull somebody's truck out of that hole just so we can start, excavating and find what we need to prepare. I'm definitely all for the ordinance, so.
I know just last week we had a resident bring to our attention a water leak in the alley. And the guys were out there. I said, do you notice anything? They said, yes, there's tire tracks going right over where the leak was. Vehicles had been parking there. Another lady came in to see us yesterday about a vehicle. It's basically doesn't have a license or registration, and it's been parked in the alley for quite a while. So there's been several instances where
I think being a little proactive too, enforcing those ordinances will help. And I don't expect if this does get changed, but give the citizens at least 6 months to, or 3 months, give them a reasonable amount of time too.
So another thing is, so you would say maybe no parking in the alleys? And we must just do all the alleys. And in the past, if we don't have utilities, we tend to abandon the alleys. So I think pretty much, all the alleys we still have, we have some kind of utilities in them. But if we did that, we do have some alleys that, I think I used the term improved alleys, like behind, right over here, behind Casper's and things like that. These are paved alleys. People have to park there.
True.
So my thought was maybe no parking in unimproved alleys, but parking in, and then the improved alleys, and maybe leaving the 10-foot, or if you want to widen that to 15-foot for a fire truck or something, but whatever you feel, you know better how the trucks, how much.
Well, even
room
like
they
the
need.
bucket trucks, 10 foot, that's not near enough room to get around it, so we need to do something.
Yeah, what would be a good distance for a bucket truck or a fire truck?
That'd be probably 15.
15?
Correct. And that's pretty much the whole alley, because they're all pretty much 20-foot alleys, so it's,
Right.
you know, it's,
Makes it rough.
So even the improved alleys, if you got people parked there and it's fire and trucks can't get through there because there's a car here and there's a car down there.
Well, it's happened before.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm not real sure that we just, I don't know, I guess the businesses, that's how they use.
You got people living above businesses on post office. And if you park them in the front of the business, then you're losing your parking spot in the front.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things I brought up.
true.
Do any of them, well, I guess some of them have those little parking spots. I know this one over here behind the museum.
Jerry
They have-
Woolridge has parking.
Yeah, they have little
Parking.
pull-in parking
Yeah,
spots.
several of them down there have, like you
Yeah.
said, little places.
I don't know when you jump over to the other one, I don't think
I
there's
think
much
Lobella,
over
you know,
there.
he has the upstairs there, yeah, he's parking in the back there, and there's several of them like that in the alleys, but. Again, other people
Yeah,
leave
well,
their
if people are
trailers
around to
there.
move it too, that's a difference compared to if you're gone and you know, you're leaving it there and nobody's there to move it, then it kind of comes into an issue as well.
Yeah, I kinda like David's point, maybe you allow it in the improved alleys and not in, and if it becomes, if it's still an issue 6 months from now, then we
Then we
revisit that.
revisit that, yep.
For sure in the
Right.
unimproved.
Say no overnight parking or something other. And the only problem, just from a legal standpoint, parking's pretty vague. Someone parks a trailer there that they're leaving there that's blocking, and it's there over the weekends and everything. They're like, well, you said I could park it, so maybe just say no overnight parking in the paved alleys, and that prevents long-term, a problem where someone just leaves a vehicle there.
But the people that live above there,
Right.
they're gonna be parked there overnights, it's just a,
That's true. I mean, but
Yeah.
you want to have something so that you don't have vehicles just
correct.
How many
that
people
are
do we
there
have?
without someone being
Is
there.
it just the two
I'd
businesses
say
that we have
there's
people
some
living
businesses maybe.
above, those two? Nail place,
Yeah, I
that,
think so.
Renee, well, I mean, but, okay, so he could move his car, and I like Renee, but he can move his car around the front. I mean, a lot of times his Suburban is in the front.
Well, at night, that is true, put it in the front.
At night, it's no longer an issue.
yeah.
Just move the vehicle.
And that would discourage people from leaving their trailers in the alley, because then they'd have to hook up every night and move it somewhere else.
I mean, the alley's a street, in essence. You wouldn't leave a trailer out on 90.
Yeah, it has a purpose, and the purpose is for our utilities and
Well, emergency.
for emergency
Yeah.
vehicles.
So David, what would we need to do tonight? We need to come back with a written,
Or just,
You
You have
need-
something together, or?
I mean, we could, it probably would be best to come back with an ordinance, and that gives the public time to see, see the proposed ordinance, the specific language.
and I like that suggestion from Kyle, that we give them 6 months, we can see how it works, and then go from there.
Okay.
How's that sound, Kyle?
Good with me. Ronell, you okay with that too?
Sound good?
Okay, so we'll bring this back up at the next council meeting, is that something?
Yes.
okay,
Okay.
Okay, that's all of our business, and we're gonna move into executive session. I'm showing that we're going into executive session at 6:49. We're going to be looking at Texas Government Code 551.072, deliberation regarding real property for well number 11, 551.074, personnel, Weimar Police Department salaries, 551.074, personnel deliberation, employment evaluation, duties of city manager, 551.074 personnel matters, update on police chief applicants.
All right.
These chairs,
Those chairs will go out.
stoppers on there, something.
Just in case somebody wants to